In this part of the video, we are going to connect GNS3 with VMware. Rather, we are going to connect our virtual machine which is running in VMware to GNS3. For this, fire up GNS3. VMware with GNS3. Save and VRAMs. Okay. Let's create a router. Let's create a cloud. Let's configure C1. Let's go to new Ethernet, and the Ethernet and we need to use VMnet 1 adapter, which will talk to our VMware machine, and it will be VMnet 1 because this is a host only adapter. Add, apply. Okay. Connect both of them using connectors, fast Ethernet connectors. Let's show the label names. This is FA0/0 and this is this device. Let's assume that we are using the network 10.0.0/24. So the IP address, let the IP address of this router be for this F0/0 be 10.0.0.1, and let it also act as a DHCP server. And let any machine which is running in this C1 act as a DHCP client. Let's configure this router R1. For this, start the router R1. In the topology summary pane, we see that the R1 router has started. So let's assign IP addresses. Start console. Enable config t, show IP interface brief. Sorry, we need to try to show IP interface brief. We see that there are two fast Ethernet interfaces, FA0/0 and FA0/1. We need to give IP address to FA0/0. So we'll switch to this interface FA0/0. The IP address to this will be 10.0.0.1, subnet mask 255.255.255.0, no shut, and Let's check the IP address now. Show IP interface brief. Now the IP address to this router R1 is 10.0.0.1 and this the status of this interface is up. Let's make R1 as DHCP server. For this again go to config t IP DHCP pool my pool. The network that we are going to use is network 10.0.0.0/24. Default router that we are going to use for this DHCP pool is default router. The IP address of the same router R1, which is 10.0.0.1. Let's assume that this router R1 is also acting as a DNS server. So DNS server 10.0.0.0.1 exit. Let's reserve first 1 to 10.1 to 10 IP addresses for ourselves. So we will type IPDCP excluded address 10.0.0.1 to 10.0.0.10 and let's check our pool. Show IP DHCP pool. The name of our pool is my pool. So let's check the status. My pool. It shows that the IP address range for this my pool is from 1 to 254 and so far no IP address has been released out. Now let's configure this VMware machine. For this go to our VMware and go to home tab. Either go to edit and virtual network adapter or simply on the home tab there is a virtual network adapter editor. We see that from host only VMnet1 is there and DHCP service is running. We have to disable this. We need to disable DHCP on VMnet1 adapter which is inbuilt in VMware so that client or machine can pick up IP from our DHCP pool that has been configured on router R1 live. And let's use this VMnet1 as a network adapter for our virtual machine. Now see, DHCP is not giving any IP addresses to this network interface. Go to the settings of this virtual machine. It shows that the network adapter currently is host only, but since we don't know which host is used, we need to use VMnet1 only. For that what we can do is we need to remove the saved status of this machine. We need to only have VMX and VMDK. Rest all we can delete. Now we shall be able to edit the settings. See, it is still not let us change anything, so let's try to close and open again VMware workstation. Currently I'm using VMware workstation 9. Edit virtual machine settings. Network adapter is host only, but we want to use only VMnet 1. For this, go to VMnet 1 host only. Okay, power on this machine. Log into virtual machine. Go to the network settings of this virtual machine. Start run ncpe.cpl to configure the network connections. Properties, Internet Protocol TCP/IP properties. We should be obtain an IP address automatically, obtain DNS server address automatically. Okay, and one more thing, let's see that this network connection is behind a firewall, so we need to disable firewall so that router and this machine can communicate with each other. For this, go to control panel, switch to classic view, Windows firewall, make it off, exception, remove everything, advanced, remove the local area connection. The moment we uncheck it and click on apply, see that it is showing connected firewall word has disappeared. That means now the firewall is not playing any role. Disable, enable. Let's see support. Now this computer has been assigned an IP address by DHCP, that is by our router R1, which is IP address 10.0.0.11, and this is the IP address of our router, which is shown as default gateway. Start run cmd. You can also check it using ipconfig. You see that the IP address is 10.0.0.11 and the default gateway is this. If you want, we can also see ipconfig/all. Shows that this local area connection has been assigned an IP address mode 80, 120. Mode 60, 150. $80 and $100. To change the size of this command prompt, you can also make it somewhat small. Let's type ipconfig/all. We see that we see that we see that the default gateway is 10.0.0.1, DHCP server is 10.0.0.1, and the DNS server is also 10.0.0.1. These are the IP addresses of a router, and the IP address assigned to this DNS client is 10.0.0.11. Let's check the status of pool. Show IP DHCP pool my pool. It shows that currently an IP address has been released out, and the next current IP address which can be released out is 10.0.0.12. Let's get this 12. Let's renew the IP address for this DHCP client. For this, if we try to release ipconfig/release, the IP address has been released, which was earlier 10.0.0.11. Let's renew it. It is still showing the old IP address. To get the IP address, we need to first of all release the old current IP address we released. Then we need to stop our DHCP client services.msc. We need to stop this service and restart it, and then we will be getting a new IP address. Let's see, net stop DHCP. The DHCP client service is stopping. Let's check that the DHCP client service has stopped now. Let's start this DHCP service, net start DHCP, and let's see the IP address, ipconfig. You see that the next IP address 10.0.0.12 has been assigned to this virtual machine, and now the next available IP address will be 10.0.0.13. Let's check. It shows 13. Now we can also ping between this virtual machine and the router. Let's ping a router from virtual machine, ping 10.0.0.1. We are getting a reply. Similarly, let's check from the router, ping 10.0.0.12. It shows the success rate is 100%. That means the communication is happening successfully between the GNS3 router and the VMware virtual machine, which is XP1 here. In this part, we are going to talk about how to use Wireshark to capture network traffic to see DORA process in action. DHCP uses DORA process to lease IP addresses to the DHCP clients. This is the DHCP server. R1 is acting as a DHCP server, and this virtual machine is using cloud C1, and it will act as a DHCP client. This virtual machine will act as a DHCP client. and the network that we are going to use is 10.0.0.0/24. So while using this DHCP's DORA process, client does the discovery, DHCP server sends an offer for the IP address to the client requests that, and the DHCP server sends an acknowledgement. Let's see this in action. For this, let's go to the virtual machine, go to start, and ncpa.cpl, disable this connection, and it should be on. Obtain an IP address automatically. Fine. Now to see the network traffic and this DORA process to occur, let's go to this fast Ethernet and start capturing, because we are going to capture the traffic which will be going out of this router R1 using this interface FA0/0. Start capturing. We shall be capturing the router R1 FA0/0. Okay. Now let's start Wireshark. Let's do it once again. I have reopened this project and started the router R1 and opened the console. Let's check the IP address. Show IP interface brief. The IP address is 10.0.0.1 and the status is up. And let's check the DHCP pool. Show IP DHCP pool, my pool. Okay, so far no IP addresses have been released out. Let's start capturing. We are going to use this R1 FA0/0. Now let's start. Start Wireshark. Let's go to this virtual machine. We have already disabled this network adapter. Let's enable to generate some IP address, to generate some network traffic. Go to this capture and let's see this thing. Stop the running live capture. Let's see. We see here that when we had uh, enabled that network interface, then DHCP traffic was generated. This is a DHCP. This first packet is the DHCP DHCP's packet for discover. See in the bootstrap protocol under this DHCP message type also it is discover, which is being shown over here. Discover. Next was the IP address offer. DSP offer. See here also under bootstrap protocol option DSP message type as offer. Next was the request. It was a DSP request, DSP message type request, and last one is the acknowledge. See these things: DSP discover, DSP offer, DSP request, DSP acknowledge. So these are the 4 packets that are generated to assign an IP address to a DSP client. Stop capturing. Save this configuration on R1. For this, go to superputty R1, copy running configuration to startup configuration, press enter, save.